Hello, everyone, and welcome back so much to the space. If you haven't been on here before, if this is the first video that you're listening to that I have done, my name is Jill, and welcome to the Jill Socirian page where I like to share with you my journey through life and what I'm passionate about, which would be my yoga practice. I love sharing that with all of you, and health. I'm really passionate about my own health from the inside out and the human brain, how we work through trauma, and sharing that journey with you. Full disclosure, this page absolutely has no ties to any type of medical background whatsoever. I do not have any type of degree in the medical field. So, with that being said, please, in anything that you listen to or hear, please know that it is for entertainment purposes only. This is solely me sharing with you as I'm talking to friends, my own opinions. I'll say that again, my own opinions and what I do in my everyday life, which may or may not work for other people, but that is up to you as the listener to do your own research and to talk to your own doctors, healthcare professionals, etc., about what is best for you in your life. So, with that being said, welcome. So, today we're going to be discussing everything that is in a green witch's pantry or medicine cabinet. I call mine my pantry. And I'm specifically talking about myself, not every single human. This is solely just myself as a green witch practitioner. And I call myself a green witch because it's all about herbs and natural different types of medicines that I use in my everyday life. And again, go ahead and do your own research, see what works for you. Obviously, everything doesn't work for everyone. And that is why we do have beautiful things that do exist in the medical field, like antibiotics, etc., that can be very helpful in a lot of cases. As we move through today, you might hear me drinking some tea. I'll talk to you about that in a little bit when we get to the tea section of what's in the pantry. So, I am really passionate about talking about all things herbs and all things natural medicine for myself because it's something that I've been doing for years and slowly just learning more and more. And there's always so much more to learn. And I'm just going to go over maybe, let's see how many things I have here. Maybe just like 10 or so, like absolutely necessary items that I always have. Of course, like I do pick up other things if I'm at a store and maybe see something on sale, or perhaps I read something in a book and I'm like, oh, that plant would actually be helpful, or this herb would be helpful, or this tea could help me through this. Then I might pick it up if I'm out somewhere. But these are like my go-to, my little golden nuggets that I use pretty much all throughout the year. And I don't buy, I guess you could call it more, I wouldn't say traditional, because I think the herbs are would be traditional because we all are humans and people of planet Earth, and all these things come from Earth. So to me, that is more the traditional or natural route. But I don't really buy any type of over-the-counter medicine. So something you would never find in my house is going to be like Tylenol, ibuprofen, your like cough syrups, like NyQuil, Dayquil, etc. Like you aren't going to find those things in my house because for me, I like to use the natural herbs and tinctures that those things were inspired by. So in order to get those medicines, of course, something from nature, typically, if you do the research and look it up, typically you're going to find different herbs and all different kinds of things that actually come from nature that went into creating this mask to help with a symptom, because a lot of those things typically are masks. They don't actually help the problem underlying itself. It just goes ahead and puts on a little like masking cap to make us kind of forget about it, which can be very helpful. Definitely not knocking on them whatsoever. I understand like sometimes you get a really bad migraine, like it's completely unbearable. Like every once in a while, totally think that's awesome. And again, this is totally personal. and per person, but this is just my own way of going about it. And I don't get very many headaches, and that could be because of the way I eat and the different herbs and stuff that I take, or it could be for another reason. But when I do get them, I still don't usually take over the counter medicine. I haven't for years. So let's dive into it. So, my first thing that I absolutely, let's just open my little bag. You can kind of hear me opening. I have a little Ziploc of stuff that I bring on my hikes with me. So my first, like a first aid kit. So it would have all the typical stuff, like Band-Aids and everything. But we are going to talk about the 2 actual medicines that I keep in my first aid kit. So the one thing I actually do, so I mentioned not really buying things over the counter, but you know what? The only thing I actually ever do have in my house, you're not going to find, like I said, Dayquil, NyQuil, stuff like that. You aren't going to find ibuprofen, Advil, Tylenol, nothing like that in my home, but you will find Benadryl. And this is because people do have allergic reactions, especially like if you're out hiking, like you just don't know. And I'm an avid hiker. My husband is an avid hiker. Like sometimes we'll go on like 7-mile hikes. Maybe it's even 5 minutes, but you never really know. And if you're out hiking and you come across someone who's having an allergic reaction, or maybe you rub up against something and have an allergic reaction, I think it's always nice to just have Benadryl. So the one I have right now in my first aid kit is the pills, but I do really want to invest next time I get around to going to a store into some liquid Benadryl, just because it can be easier. And I do have some family members on my husband's side who do have some severe allergies. So it really isn't a bad idea just to always have Benadryl. That is the number one thing I like to travel with. If I'm going on an airplane, if I'm hiking, and I always, always, always have it at home and in my first aid kit. The second thing is going to be myrrh. So myrrh, Myrrh. And it's just, I have 2 different types of myrrh. The one that I have in the first aid kit is just the pure essential oil. And this I'm going to use, or I do use, for all of my cuts, scrapes, burns. Even when I get tattoos, I actually just put myrrh straight up on my tattoos. I have 2 nose piercings and I touch them a lot. And, hands are dirty. If you're not constantly washing your hands and you're touching your nose and you're twisting your nose rings, your earrings, your belly button rings, or whatever, you're getting dirt in there and it can be easily irritated and it can become infected. So whenever my nose piercings become a little bit inflamed, like they're getting an infection, I honestly just put the myrrh oil directly on there and kind of rub it around, and bam, like magic. Like, I love this stuff. I mean, usually sometimes I'll do a couple applications. So it might take like 2 or 3 applications for a couple of days, depending on what it is. If it's a cut or tattoo, obviously, like I'll apply it for multiple days. But this is something that you will not find me without. So I absolutely love myrrh oil. I use it instead of any type of, I guess you could call it my substitute for, I guess, a Neosporin or any type of like antibiotic ointment or something. So any type of ointment that you would find in the store for cuts, scrapes, infections, etc., I actually just use pure myrrh oil, and I have for years. Absolutely love it. And I also have another version of the myrrh oil. So I have the extract, which I apply just directly to my skin, and then I have, which is topical, right? So that one's not for in the mouth. And then I have a myrrh gum, and this comes with like a little dropper. I got this one at Sprouts, I think, when it was on sale. The oral one. The topical one, I think I bought online. You can really get them anywhere. Or maybe I actually got this at like a Whole Foods or something. But I will go through at the end and go ahead and let you know where you can get everything, because it's really inexpensive. I typically don't go out of my way to buy very overly priced of any of the herbs or the vitamins, etc., that I'm going to go through that I have. So it is worth the investment, especially if you just have them always in the cupboard, your pantry, medicine cabinet, whatever, because you're not going to use them every day, so they will last, and they do keep. So let's keep on keeping on. So we have the myrrh gum, and that is going to be orally. So same thing, like you can just take about it's like 2 milliliters. Is that right? Yeah. 1 to 3 times a day in a small amount of water is what this one suggests. I typically don't do that. I usually don't listen to directions though. So there's that. Sometimes I'll just put it in my water, and it really helps if you have any type of, well, for me, I'm not going to actually say this for any type of advice for anyone, but for me, I sometimes will do it if I don't feel well or if I have any type of like infection. It can also be good for maybe cleansing the gut, maybe any parasites, stuff like that. I just like to have it. And because it's the oral one, you can also use it topically. Now, the oral one that I do have does have alcohol in it, unlike the other topical one that I have. So it could burn a little bit, but again, it's not going to hurt you other than it stings. But the alcohol is good because it cleanses to any bacteria. All right. So the third thing that I always, always have is oil of oregano. Oh my goodness. I love oil of oregano. So, oil of oregano for me, I use as a natural immune support, but what I really use it for is virus protection. Oh my goodness. So, I used to get more UTIs in the past than now. I haven't had one in, I don't know, maybe a year and a half, if not more. But growing up, I used to get them more often than not. And I would use like over the counter Azo, and then I would have to go and get Bactrim and all kinds of stuff, and I even had different types of reactions to some types of antibiotics like macrobids. So for me, oil of oregano is absolutely amazing. It is something that I use if I'm getting sick or if I'm trying to fight off an infection, so like a UTI, or even if I have like a nasty, like if I have a cut, sometimes I'll even do the myrrh oil topically on my cut, and then I'll go ahead and take 2 oregano oil because that's working from the inside out, and then the myrrh oil is working from the outside in. So it's kind of like a double help. So another thing that I like to use the oregano oil for is going to be for if I have a cold or the flu, etc., viruses, anything, you know what I mean? So like a lot of times, like you might hear like, oh, you just got to let a virus run its course, etc. I'm like, well, there are different things that you can do, or at least there's different things that I do personally, and those things are going to be taking this oil of oregano and cordyceps. Holy moly. So cordyceps, I swear by these things. I suggest them to all of my friends and family all the time. You'll always hear me talking about cordyceps mushrooms. I get the capsules that are 750 milligrams, and the serving size is 2. I just get them. I think I got these ones from Amazon, but you can get them at Sprouts or a vitamin shop or Whole Foods, somewhere like that carries like a lot of vitamins. Like, and especially like an array of different kinds. So that would typically be your Sprouts, your Whole Foods, or your vitamin shop. And these mushrooms are good for a healthy immune support. They help in like the elimination of free radicals. They help with healthy vascular function. But every single time that I feel like I'm feeling sick, I'll take 2 oregano pills, and then I'll take 2 cordyceps mushroom pills in the morning, and hiccups, and then I'll take 2 more of each at night. So I'll take 4 of each total. So I'll take 2 oregano in the morning, 2 cordyceps in the morning, and then before bed I'll take 2 oregano and 2 cordyceps. And this is only for the beginning of my sickness. Now, of course, if you like were to look and read the dosage, it says 1 for the oregano, and then it says like 2 for the cordyceps. And that's like if you take it every day. I think this is my opinion. Again, this is just personal. This is what I do. I'm just giving you my everyday or, anytime I'm sick advice on what I do, or not really advice, but insight more so. I'm giving you my insight on what I do when I'm sick. So I put those 2 together. So the 2 oreganos and 2 cordyceps. And I usually do that for about 3 days. So I'll take 2 in the morning and 2 at night of each for about 3 days. And typically by then I'm feeling better. If I'm not, I'll continue for just a couple days, but I won't usually continue the 2 and 2 for more than like 4 days. And then I'll just go down to like a lower dose. And I always make sure I'm drinking a lot of water when I'm sick. And then, of course, like echinacea. So we'll touch on that too. I always have echinacea in my cupboard. So I usually buy everything in bulk, and I buy like raw herbs. You can buy tea bags as well, but I prefer the raw herbs because you can make your own teas. And I just usually put them in my French press. So I just boil some water and I put the herbs in my French press, and then I pour the water on top, and then I press it down, and then I just let it steep, and then bam, tea. And that way I can mix a bunch of different kinds if I want to, like rose hips or whatever. But when I'm sick, I always do oil of oregano, cordyceps is the everyday, morning and night. And then throughout the day, of course, drinking a lot of liquids, bone broth, especially. I love the kettle and fire bone broths are like my favorite. If you're going to like buy them from a store, or like making them is way better. But if you're going to buy them, like, oh, I love those. And then, of course, throughout the day, I'll usually make myself a few warm teas because sometimes it's easier to stay hydrated with some tea. And that would be the echinacea. So as we move forward, highly recommend, of course, like, oh gosh, I love the cordyceps, love the oregano, love the myrrh, love having echinacea, always have echinacea in my pantry or medicine cabinet, whatever you want to call it. I kind of mix everything together. It's all herbs, so I just kind of like put it on the shelf, I also will always have frankincense. So it's not always that easy to find, like, I guess a oral frankincense, you would call it, like something you could take in your mouth. But this is my view. If any oil is deemed, safe, right, to have orally, and you find an oil that is 100% pure, just that oil, even though it doesn't say food grade, wouldn't it be safe? That's my opinion. That is my view. It's the same view I have on raw milk. You know what I mean? So like we'll buy raw milk sometimes, and they can't say like this is safe to consume, but you're probably fine. So that's my opinion, though. Of course, like this is not medical advice whatsoever. So this is just what I do, and I absolutely love it. So I have 100% pure organic frankincense. I just have it from the Garden of Life. On it, it's orange wrapping. It says calming on it. It's probably like for a diffuser. I don't use it for a diffuser. I actually will put a few drops on my pointer finger and then put it onto the roof of my mouth. So frankincense is also Boswellia. So I believe I might need to fact check this actually, but I'm pretty sure that Boswellia is like how they ended up making ibuprofen. It's some type of painkiller. So one of your over-the-counter painkillers came from Boswellia, and Boswellia is actually frankincense. So again, like how I mentioned at the beginning, like to me, it's like, why would I pay money for something that's been processed and has chemicals in it when I can just go straight to the source? So I use frankincense, and it's a very powerful anti-inflammatory. So there has been different studies on frankincense for cancer. My husband's aunt had lymphoma. Now this is just her. This is just, a story of her. I'm not saying this does or doesn't work. I'm just telling you a story. So my cousin's husband, my husband's aunt had lymphoma, and she was helped by, I think, one of her family members. And a big part of that was like frankincense and changing her diet. So she completely cut out, because cancer usually feeds on what? Like carbs and sugar, right? So I feel like if you are struggling with something like that, you would immediately want to cut out, like if you're trying to get rid of it, like you want to cut out all carbs, all sugar, and you want to probably do an alkaline diet and whole foods, which is honestly what I eat mostly, like not even on purpose, just because I like it. So that's what I would do, right? And then of course, like the frankincense is supposed to be powerful inflammatory. So the idea is, I guess, that it could possibly help maybe stop tumors from growing or like help the inflammation of them in the body. But either way, so I put a couple on the roof of my mouth just every now and again, like maybe a couple of times a week. And for me, I feel like it really helps like balance and reset the body. But if I do feel like maybe I might get a headache or something, that is something that I'll also do as well. Because again, it is a powerful inflammatory. But I'll also have Bonswellia, just the tablets, in my cupboard as well. So I'll take a couple of those if I do feel like I'm going to start to get a headache, which I don't really get headaches very often. Typically, headaches come from an underlying other issue, like even migraines. Like, I feel like the fact that people say like they don't know where they came from or there is no cure, I feel like that's bullshit. So that's just my opinion, though. I feel like everything has an underlying issue, whether it be emotional, physical, or what you're eating. So there's that. So I always have Bonswellia as well. So again, we're going to do a quick recap of everything I've talked about so far, which has been the Benadryl. I always have that in my cupboard. Myrrh, oregano, cordyceps, frankincense, echinacea. And now we have a few more things. We have 4 more things here. Actually, we're going to do 5. We have 5 more because 2 of them are teas and then 3 of them. Okay. So we're going to start with the L-theanine. I always love to have L-theanine in my cupboard because it really does help with mood. It is naturally occurring in matcha tea. I love matcha tea. I would say I'm a matcha tea connoisseur in a way. Every time I travel to a new city, I am always trying a matcha. 9 times out of 10, I don't like it. There's actually only one brand recently. It's a ceremonial brand that I've been buying just at home that I really, really like. So like everything else to me when I go out and buy it, it's almost trash. So I kind of almost stopped doing that after a couple of years of doing that. But L-theanine, sometimes I'll put it in my smoothies in the morning or I'll just have it with my morning vitamins. And I just take one. And it's definitely not every day I do it, but you could do it every day if you wanted to, I think. It's a suggested use. Take 1 capsule per day or as directed by your healthcare professional. So yeah, you could definitely just like talk that over with your doctor, do some research on your own, but it promotes relaxation. And so for me, if I feel like there's a lot of stress going on in my life, I'm going through a transitional period, or maybe I'm feeling a little bit more anxious than normal, that is a good time that I like to take my L-theanine for sure. And I always notice a huge difference. So that is what I keep in my cupboard as far as mental health, right? Or just overall promotes relaxation in the body. So everything else that we kind of talked about before has all been for health and wellness of maybe getting sick or helping like cuts and stuff. And then this one, the L-theanine for me, is always nice for promoting relaxation and just helping manage stress. It's nice. I really like it. I also do love drinking matcha. When I'm drinking matcha, I don't take the L-theanine, but I'm pregnant, so I have not been drinking matcha because of the caffeine. I've been drinking some decaf teas that we're going to talk about in just a few minutes. So that's why I'll take the L-theanine just every once in a while, because my body is definitely used to that like nice, calm relaxation that gets released through the natural L-theanine in the matcha tea leaves. All right, so the last 2 things before the tea is going to be white willow and neem. So the white willow, you can use it supposedly for a lot of different things. I would definitely look it up, do your own research, figure it out. I have it as a huge, like as an herb, like in a big bag, but then I also have it as an extract. I use the extract more than like the tea or the herb one, but I was actually using it as my own personal natural birth control a while ago. And I felt like it worked for me. So you can definitely do some research and, of course, everyone needs to do everything responsibly and figure that out for you. It does also help maintain healthy joints. So on the actual package that I have, I think I got this one from Sprouts. It's an oral tincture. It says right on it, white willow extract helps maintain healthy joints. But I mean, that's not why I take it. But if you were someone who maybe needed some extra help, like in helping your joints, or maybe you might have arthritis or aches and pains, or maybe you just work out a lot and just need something to help your joints. If you're a climber, like my brother and I have been climbing for years, or if you're a biker or a hiker, or maybe you're a boxer, I feel like if you're doing any type of intense exercise, like your joints could always use some extra love. So I love the white willow. And so when I was using it as a natural birth control, I would just put it in my water every morning. And I would put a few things in my water. I would put like lavender and like other stuff too, because I have a bunch of tinctures. But we're not talking about those today because they're not always in my cupboard. We're only talking about the stuff that's always in my cupboard. So white willow is always in there. And I found that it worked for a natural birth control for me. I didn't get pregnant until I really stopped taking it. Of course, that doesn't mean I was irresponsible. I definitely always still kind of, worked on tracking my ovulation and was responsible. But I did find it to be a natural alternative for myself than taking the pills, because I've definitely taken the pills before and I definitely liked this better. So that was just my personal opinion. I told my friend about it once, funny enough, and she was like, her response was, "Did you learn that off of a TV show?" And I forget which TV show she said. It was some TV show, maybe set back in maybe the 1700s or 1600s, something. I don't know. I could be getting the date poorly wrong because I don't even know what it was about. If it was about Vikings, or if it was about Middle Ages, or if it was about futurist dystopia, whatever. But I do know that it's a popular show, and she said that in the show, the women take white willow as birth control. And I said, that's hilarious. No, I did not learn that from that show. I've learned that just from my own studies and practices. And that's really cool because I think it works for me, and it's cool that it works for other people. So that's something I always have. And okay, so the last like tincture or oil that I'm going to talk about that I always, always, always have is neem. Oh my goodness, I love neem. So I have just the neem oil, certified organic. It's like cold pressed neem. I got this on Amazon. Actually, it's by Katie Blanc Cosmetics. And it just is one ingredient, cold pressed neem oil. That's it. And it comes in a little amber glass bottle with a cute little, what is this thing called? My brain. Dropper. There we go. So it's a cute little dropper. And I'm actually going to have to order some more soon because I'm getting low. But after you have it for a while, it will kind of start to get thicker, and that's normal. So when you first buy neem, like typically it's very, very runny, and the more it sits, it'll kind of get thicker, but it's totally safe and cool to use when it's thick. It's just like the natural consistency of the oil that happens. But neem is good for so many things. So what I use neem for is, well, what I use it for right now is different than what I used it for when I first got it. But we'll talk about what I was using it for when I first got it and what I'm using it for in this moment. So I got the neem specifically for my hair and skin. It also is really good for bugs. So I use this oil for everything. Oh my goodness. So sometimes, but it does have a very particular smell. So you might want to, like, if you were to get it, I love the way it smells. My husband thinks it smells like rancid chocolate, which to me, I'm like, yeah, chocolate, But he says it smells bad. I think it smells good, but some people say it smells like garlic. I don't get that one, but you can use it on your face. It's really good for your skin, for your scalp, for your hair. It's also really good for scarring. If you have any scarring, like sometimes I'll put it on stuff like that. Try to heal. But what I use it for the most is going to be like my bug sprays. So if I'm going to be gardening outside, or if I'm going on a hike, sometimes I'll just rub straight up neem oil on my arms, or I make my own. So that would usually consist of like neem, lemongrass, like lavender, and cedarwood. And those are the things that I would put in like a little spray bottle and add some like water and shake it up and just spray it all over my body. So I use like neem oil for that. It also helps deter lice because neem oil is like what's in like lice killer. So especially like, I don't know, like in theory, like if I was sending my kids to school, like I might put some neem oil in their hair. You know what I mean? That's just my personal preference and opinion though. So what I use it for right now though is, since I'm pregnant, I was getting a lot more pimples than usual. not only because of hormones, but also from lack of washing my face because the first trimester was a challenge. So I just started doing navel oiling. So I love like Ayurvedic practices. And I was like, when I wake up in the morning, like the first things that you would do would be, of course, like wash your face, brush your teeth. And then the idea is cleaning out the holes in your body. So that would be like your nasal holes. So both your nostrils, your ears, and your belly button. And you would also practice oiling them. Now, I never put any specific oil on them before. I was usually just using just a straight up vitamin E oil. But then I started doing some research and I found a lot of great things for helping clear acne and glowing skin through neem oil. So for about 1 week now, I have been taking my neem oil dropper and putting 2 drops in my navel and my belly button before bed and massaging it in. And my skin, it has been glowing. My pimples are no more. I am loving it. So I did talk to some friends about this, and they were telling me that they heard about castor oil using it for a very similar purpose. Now, I think the castor oil, if you were to look it up online, says something about helping your digestive system, etc., etc. So I have not tried that. I specifically use the neem oil because I wanted glowing, healthy skin. So that's what I use my neem oil for. Absolutely love it. It's always in my house, because it's good for everything. It's amazing. I'll even sometimes like put it on my plants. So you can put it in a little spray bottle and spray it on your plants because it deters bugs. It deters ticks. Oh my goodness, mosquitoes. I love neem oil. Okay, so the last 2 things I want to talk about is tea. So you might have heard me sipping very kind of loudly. Some tea. I made the Mandarin ginger tea this morning. So that's something you're always going to find in my house is tea. I have a lot of tea. I'm not going to talk about all the teas that I have today because I have a lot. And like I said, I like to make them myself. So I'll just get like a bunch of different herbs, like the pure echinacea, etc. I'll buy them in bulk and then just like make my own tea because 1, it's cheaper, and 2, you can switch it up and then do what you need. Like some days you don't need certain things and then you do other days. So that's why I do that. But 2 things that I do usually always have in the house, like in my medicine cabinet, that's what I'm calling this, like what's in the Green Witch's medicine cabinet. So as far as we're talking about that kind of stuff, helping ailments, I would say ginger tea, because ginger tea can be really good if you're nauseous, if you have the cold, if you have the flu. Right now for me through pregnancy, like it's just really great. And it's an herbal tea, so you can drink it in the morning, the nighttime, during the day, in the middle of the night. I always have a nice ginger tea in the house, and you can always, make it different, right? So like right now I'm just drinking plain ginger tea, but you can also put honey in it. You could put date syrup in it. You could put milk and cinnamon. Like you can get wild with it. So I love ginger tea. And then something else I always have is a golden milk tea. So, oh my goodness, I love this stuff. I have like multiple tins of it. My husband bought me some and I loved it so much. He was having it on like a reoccurring order every month where we had to like stop ordering it because we just had so much. But I love this. So it's by Harley and Sons. It comes in like, as you hear, like a little metal container. It's Mind Your Body Wellness Tea Herbs Golden Milk Organic, Harley and Sons, and it says Glimmer. And the key notes are going to be turmeric, ginger, coconut, and spices. And you want to always turn your turmeric drinks around. So I love turmeric. Turmeric is something I also have like in my food cabinet. But as far as medicine cabinet, this is why I have it in the tea form because I drink a lot of it. But the thing about drinking a turmeric tea is I use it for inflammation, right? It also helps like your skin, like if you just the turmeric itself. But if you're looking for a very specific purpose out of it, what activates that inflammation property is the black pepper. So you always want to make sure, like if you're getting like a turmeric, anything, it has black pepper in it. If you're getting it for inflammation and other stuff, because then it's not really going to do what you're trying to have it do. So that's what I would suggest. This one I love because it does have the black pepper. So the ingredients are organic turmeric, organic ginger, organic coconut pieces, organic black pepper, and organic chicory root. It's so good. So it's actually instant. So all you need is some warm water, dissolve it in it, and I like to add milk and a little bit of honey or date syrup. Now, date syrup does make things a little bit darker, so then it would take away that golden color, so it might deter you from wanting to drink it. So if you want to use honey, or any other sweetener of choice. I don't have sugar. I don't use sugar or anything like that in my house. No brown sugar, no white sugar, no cane sugar, nothing. So the only sweeteners you're going to find in my house are going to be date syrup and honey. Maybe you might find a maple syrup, but I haven't had maple syrup in such a long time in the house. Like I'll just put honey on the pancakes. So for this turmeric drink, highly recommend it. You can get it online. You can get it at most tea shops. I feel like I think I might have found this one originally, like before we bought it online. I think we originally found it in like a world market. So, like in the back, they have like that food section. Excuse me. So, highly recommend. I love this tea, especially like if I'm feeling super bloated. I'll drink a couple of them a day. You can have it hot or cold. I also love it iced. So, what I'll do sometimes is I'll boil a little bit of water or, microwave it or whatever. We don't have a microwave, but if we're like we travel a lot. So, if we're staying at like an Airbnb or a hotel, sometimes I'll microwave it because it's easier. But typically, if I'm at home, I'll just boil some water, put the tea in the water, it dissolves, and then I'll just let it sit, and then I'll chill it. And then once I chill it, I'll get it out so it can like be extra cold, So like if the liquid's already cold and then you add ice and it's so super cold and it's really delicious. So I will chill the tea and then I will bring it out, pour it over ice, and then add a milk. If you fill it like 3/4 the way, you can use a little bit of heavy cream, which is really good. I love heavy cream and stuff because you can use a lot less of it and it makes things extra creamy. And of course, like you would have wanted to add your sweetener to it when it was hot because that's helpful. Now, when you do add honey to really hot things, like just know it does kill any of the like healthy bacteria that's in honey. But if you're just using it for sweetener, then it doesn't matter. That only matters if you're taking like a teaspoon of honey in the morning to help with like allergies or something. But it's so good. I love it. I really love it iced. And then I just, put a little spoon in it. You can even put some whipped cream on it if you're feeling wild, or some cinnamon. And then it just like, it feels very fall flavor. Turmeric is definitely an acquired taste. I feel like not everyone loves turmeric. I'm a huge turmeric fan. My husband likes turmeric, but probably not as much as me, because when I put it in food, he's like, it's very turmeric-y. And I'm like, I don't taste it at all because I love it. So I'll put turmeric in every single thing, turmeric and black pepper in my pasta, in my rice, in my chili, anything I can get turmeric and black pepper in, I will put in because has such great healing properties, or what I believe, or that's what I use it for inflammation and a lot of stuff. So that is everything in the Green Witch's medicine cabinet or pantry. So I hope you guys have enjoyed me sharing all of this information with you and everything that I use and why I don't use over-the-counter medicine. So this particular series was specifically for colds, flus, infections, cuts, scrapes, burns, etc. So this is everything that I use for those things. Of course, there are a lot of different ailments and that I might use other things for, but that could be a completely different video. If you do have any questions or you're curious what I use for other things, go ahead and drop me a comment. Please like the video and let me know what you would like to know that I use. Because I would love to talk about it with all of you because it's my passion for sure. And if you have any more information, if you have anything that you'd want to share with me about stuff that you know or you learn that you do as far as any type of natural herbs or teas that you use for any type of ailments, please let me know because I'm very interested. So thank you so much for tuning in today, and I hope that everyone has an absolutely wonderful day. So until next time, everybody, cheers.